Conor and Chandler. Does Conor want to fight Chandler? Now, I do believe that Conor wants to fight again. But so do I. So, I mean, what does that mean? I'm not going to fight again. I'm not going to do the diet process. That alone, I'm not going to do the training process. I'm not going to get up in the morning and put the miles in. It's one of these things, and therefore I'm not going to fight again. But I bring that to you because I do believe Conor wants to fight again. But that's a very different thing. Do you want to go through the lifestyle? Do you want to do the hard work? I don't have the answer to this. I don't have the answer. I know that an average fighter in an average card, you watch 11 fights, 22 guys. Of those 11 fights and of those 22 athletes, on average, I don't know if any of them have an injury less degree of severity than a discolored pinky toe. Just on an average night, I know Conor himself, when he was getting his comeuppance, did not get in the ring with his body, having something within his body not feeling equal to or worse than a discolored pinky toe. So it does speak about how much you want to do it. And there's stories being told, but there's stories not being told, but you have to take them. You have to consider them when you're trying to guess. And I don't guess because I'm itching to see Conor. I guess because I don't want Michael Chandler's life put on hold for any more years, of which are passing by. And the math doesn't work. Whatever this payday was, or he believes it's going to be, which, by the way, he should know exactly because he has a contract. I mean, it's one of these things. But whatever that is, the math no longer works when a year goes by and that cost you 3 fights. Now, I'm stating the obvious. It's not as though Michael Chandler doesn't know. I want this to work out for Michael Chandler. But at what point, what story is it that we're being told? Could we have gotten Conor in there that night if we changed the opponent? Right? And see, this changes things. When fighters retire, they don't retire because they can't do the sport or they don't want to do the sport. They retire because they don't want to do the lifestyle of the sport. They don't want to have to make weight anymore. Make weight is a broad stroke for the lifestyle, for the calories that you got to burn, for the workouts that you got to do, for the discipline that you have to have, for the sacrifice that you have to make. It all gets represented not in your performance. It gets represented when you get on that scale. So I just share for you, when Khabib retired, we started looking at all these different numbers, but we looked at all the wrong numbers. If they would have moved the weight class to 165, you would have gotten Khabib to fight again at that time. And I illustrate that. Could we get Conor to fight June 29th? Yes, of course we could. Of course. Was he healthy enough to fight? Yes, of course. He can make the 170-pound weight class, and, even with a bum foot, it kind of changes the exercise, of course. And he would have walked out there and done it. He was fine. He could have done it if he was fighting you. If you became his opponent, he could have done it. He could not go through with that and do it against Michael Chandler, in his own opinion. So, how far does that go? To beat Michael Chandler, do we just need that pinky toe? Is that the one thing that was missing? Or we admit that the fight is that close? Or do we just need a whole new opponent? That's all I'm asking. Like, as December starts to get closer, and December is the only pay-per-view left in the calendar year that doesn't have a rumored main event yet. That is the only opportunity that Conor and Chandler would have. And they are campaigning for it. They are live. They're going back and forth on Twitter. And all they're trying to do is get a date, is get the company to go, all right, we're going to give this one more shot. But I still have to ask you, is Chandler the problem? Like, every action that has been taken appears to be an action that would shake Michael Chandler. That would get rid of him, get him to go take another fight. So I'm wondering, is he the problem? Do we need to find somebody else? And there's no question Conor could have fought June 29th. That's not a question. He couldn't fight against Michael Chandler. Now, I don't know that there's a easier or more favorable match. I don't know that there would be a strategic advantage to getting rid of Chandler. And if you did, who is it that you believe that you would bring in that you have a better shot with? So that punches a bit of a hole in the boat of my argument, but I'm more making a suggestion. I'm more asking a question. For sure, Conor could have fought with that leg. For sure. He did lots of things with that leg. He could have fought Chandler. Could have fought you. Could have fought your neighbor. Could have fought your kid brother. Teasing you, it would have been very light work, and that's what he could have done. And we all agree. We all go, oh, okay, Chael, you're right. Well, okay, great. But if I am right, is that guy that you could have walked out there with a bad leg, is he in the UFC? Because there's a story being told. There's a story being told constantly. When you see drunk Conor, when you see bald Conor, when you see partying Conor, when you see traveling Conor, when you see these things, you're being told a story. And every time I see Conor, I saw him twice over the weekend. I saw him drinking. I see him at Bare Knuckle. I see him drinking. I see a surveillance tape of this girl that tried to do the twerk on him. Did you guys see that? It's actually quite funny. He's drinking. And he's not drinking because he can't control himself. He's not drinking because he's thirsty. He's telling a story. I just don't know what it is. Conor showed up drunk to the Khabib press conferences. What was that story we were being told? It was either, I am a drunk. I cannot control myself. Nah, he could have controlled himself, so we know that one's out. So then you have, I take this guy so lightly. I've got such confidence, and I have this in the bag to the degree that I haven't even stopped partying, and I'm going to go fight him, right? It was with the old Jon Jones adage that he said to Daniel Cormier. It was one of the great lines at a press conference ever. I did coke all through camp, and I still knocked you out. So is that the story being told? I take this opponent so lightly that I'm going to travel and jet set and go all over the world. I'm going to be away from my coaches and away from my gyms. We all know I'm not getting workouts worth a damn on the hotel treadmill. But we all also know that is all that I have available to me because I have left my coaches and my gym to be here, drinking. So is the story, I am so confident, and I have such a lack of respect for you and a confidence in myself, that I will drink through this entire thing. I will party and I will go to clubs. And I will deal with you. Or, and here's your third option, guys. There's only three. There's not four, there's not five, there's not endless options. There's three. The third option is I don't know how this is going to go. And therefore, I am going to let you know right now the things that I could change moving forward. I could have changed them for this fight. I could have just beat him if. Next time can be different. Because I can stop doing this. And you all saw that I was doing it. You all saw that I was drinking and not taking him serious. I didn't do that bad with him for a guy that didn't take him serious. I didn't do that bad for a guy that didn't train. Imagine if I did. Imagine if I took this serious. And it's one of those stories that are being told. And is it Chandler? Is it Chandler? It wasn't as though we couldn't do anything. He's been going to fights. He's been going to clubs. He's been dancing. He's getting on airplanes. He's driving. He's taking care of his family. I mean, these are very real things. These are all the same mechanics that you would need, right? It's not as though you can't fight. You feel good and you can do everything, but you got a cast on. You have a cast on. A commission will not let you fight with a cast. Like, we don't even have to have a conversation here. I cannot go fight with a cast. Well, there was no cast. There was no boot. There was no anything. There was a decision that I need this part. I don't feel good enough against that opponent. If it would have been a different opponent or the right opponent, he would have done it. Just the same as Khabib would have fought if they would have understood the problem was 155 pounds. But I'm not bullish on that idea, because I'm not bullish that there's another idea. I'm not bullish there's another matchup out there that would add more or offer more that people are looking forward to more. There's never been a fight promoted this long. It had the greatest marketing mechanism in our industry history, The Ultimate Fighter. It had the largest gate in our industry's history, so we know there's people that want to see the fight. And I don't know if Chandler's the problem, because I don't know if there's a replacement. But I know there's a story being told. I know there's a story going out of its way to be told. There's a story that you can't look away from, which is I am not in the gym. I am not training. I'm drinking. Is it because I am so confident? Or is it because I want you guys to not have such incredible confidence?